Allan Advisors, creating aha moments, presents Aha Business Podcasts. We provide opportunities to discover information to help you run your business and guide your decision making. The more you know, the better decisions you make. For more information, log on to allanhirschadvisors.com. I'm your host, Allan Hirsch. Welcome to today's podcast. My guest is Robert Butwin. He's president of Success Strategists. So welcome to the show, Robert.
Thank you, Allan. I'm really glad to be here and sharing some insight and wisdom with your viewing audience.
Well, I hope so. And that's why you're here. I do that. So my first question, which I try to ask to every guest, what motivates you to get up in the morning and go to work?
Two things. Number one, my wife. I've got a phenomenal wife, and I want to make sure that she's always happy, and cash flow really makes a difference. But second of all, and more importantly, making a difference. Being able to actually know that the work that you do has a positive impact on other people.
Okay. So how did you get started at what you do?
Well, what I'm doing now was never what I thought I was going to be doing. And let me explain.
I'm in the same boat, so don't worry about it.
One of the things I read early on in my career is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. So I never worry anymore. But I always expected to be running our family business. Our family started the high school ward cheerleading jacket business. I was the oldest son. I loved the business, and my dad was running it. But realistically, my grandmother was running it, and all of a sudden we had all my cousins coming into the business, and not every one of them would pull their own weight. And in fact, one year, and I was selling in the Twin Cities, I increased our sales $500,000, and they gave me a $5,000 a year raise. And I started saying, what's wrong with this picture? I didn't have the patience to see what was going to happen over the next 10, 15 years. And I started to take a look at alternative ways that I could create, get involved with something that I would become really passionate about.
Oh, that's interesting, because I was in the same boat. I came out of college and went into a family publishing business, and which I loved. But the internet, we made a decision in 2001 when the internet was 10 years old, and Amazon just started selling books, that it was going to be fruitless for us to continue. So we liquidated it. It would be 130 years old this year.
Yep.
I mean, that's what those flat files behind me have, all the old artwork.
Yeah. Ours would have been 82 years old this year. But,
Right.
And that's really relevant to what we're going through right today.
Right.
Because, you think about when you had to make a shift, when I had to make a shift, and now with the world events of what's happening today, how many people have to pivot, that word pivot, which I never heard of before, but it's become like a common noun, sort of like Google.
Right. Yeah. So what do you, successful strategies, what do you do?
A little bit of everything. Basically, I've always been involved with leverage business models, and now with affiliate models. Basically, what I look at doing is, and somebody not long ago asked me the question, is there a cookie cutter approach to what it is that I do? And there really isn't, because if I'm going to focus on helping entrepreneurs accelerate their success, transform their vision into reality, everybody's coming from a different space, a different place. They've got different resources. They besides coming from a different place, they want to go to a different place. They've got different objectives. So because everybody's different, and to get back to your question, what do I do is I focus on how I can help other people accelerate success and make their life work for themselves. I mean, I've been blessed, after I left our family business, and I could go back and tell you a little bit about that story. But in the meantime, we all have this journey, so to speak, the hero's journey. And we all have different challenges that we experience along the way. So it's how we break through the things that are holding us back to create the things that we really want. And so now really what I do is help other people. I focus on how I can be of service to other people.
So how do you, Can you give me some examples? I do the same thing. I work with entrepreneurs and business owners, and very few of them are the same. They all have different problems. So, what are some of the things that you deal with, that you work with, to help entrepreneurs grow?
You know, I guide them usually to information and share insights with them, a combination of both. One of the things when I started off in the business, I probably over the years spent, and I don't know exactly how much, I'm just going to give you a guess of $100,000 between going to seminars, buying CDs, cassette tapes, reading books, so that I could, reprogram myself to make sure that I was successful. Today, you can get almost all of that for free on the internet. One of the things I like to say is, the day after my birthday, 57 years ago, my cousin released a song. Now, as I talk about that, I've never met him. His mother was at my wedding, but the title of that song was "The Answer, My Friend, is Blowing in the Wind." Today, the answer is on the internet. It's like, hey, Google, what's the air quality in Santa Rosa today? Hey, Google, what's the temperature going to be this week? So, as as that relates to personal growth, like one of the things that's when I started my career, I came across a series by Dr. Robert Anthony called Beyond Positive Thinking. Recently, Joe Vitale redid that. Phenomenal thing. Joe says when he started in his career, that was one of the things that was instrumental in changing his career. When I started my career, that was one of the CDs, or actually it was cassettes then, that was instrumental in helping me create the success that I've created. But you can go to YouTube and see that or listen to that for free.
Right. Well, that's why we went out of the publishing business. You can listen to almost anything for free because we were
Exactly.
selling things. Yeah, you're right.
So, what I do is I guide people to insight. For example, you and I met on a Zoom, on a Zoom call.
Right.
I probably do 6 to 10 Zoom calls a week. Just earlier today, I got off of a phone call of a guy that I met on a Zoom call. He, served in the services. He was a fire chief for multiple years. He's gone through the John Maxwell leadership school, and so I shared different insights with him. In fact, he lives in Colorado, going through the fire. We've gone through 2 fires, and I explained to him how we were able to get an insurance settlement, because not that the fire hit us, but you got all the smoke, the air ducts and everything else. He never thought of it. But there's many different things, many different insights I can share with people, or connections. There's an old saying, your net worth is in direct relationship to the value of your network. So how do you help somebody? Number one, you help them by maybe introducing them to the right connections, and that will help them. Or you bring value to them and their network by guiding them to information. Information is all around us. The part of the problem is discerning the good and the bad.
Right.
There's so much information you get in some of these people's funnels, and it's like as soon as I see an email coming from certain people, because I've gotten in their funnel and there's no personal relationship, so it goes delete, delete, delete.
Yeah, I do some of the same things. So what are, you're working with a lot of people. You've been doing this successful strategies for a long time. Uh, do you build a client base that's continuing, or at this stage in your career, do you just out there to help people?
Well, when you're saying client base, because I don't charge people, I
Okay.
tell them, I'm willing to give, definitely within the first conversation, whatever I can give, and give it everything, the best that I can do. But then I've got different kinds of leveraged business models that if they want my mentoring for life, they're going to want to be involved in something that I'm involved with. So I've got some kind of piece based on my ability to help them become more successful. Where I've got a vested interest. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the only thing they're going to be doing, because a long time ago, I went through a course that at the time was called IBI, and then it dwarfed into CEO space, and that was started by Bernie Dorman. But he used to talk about multiple streams of income. And I totally believe in multiple streams of income. There's great affiliate programs out there. Again, it's like a lot of the people that are entrepreneurs, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what's out there. So I can
Oh,
guide them.
absolutely.
Yeah,
They don't know they don't know what's out there. It's one of the
yeah,
reasons that I do this podcast is to make sure business owners and people in business know what's out there.
exactly. I mean, like there's digital business cards, there's different funnels. Funnels are not right for everybody, because first of all, one of the things I learned early on is most people want to be spoon fed. In fact, it even goes beyond that. They want you to put the food on the spoon and then put it in their mouth.
Right.
They so funnels are not necessarily right for people. So that's just one example. One of the programs that I'm involved with, which is, you know, more about customer gathering, it's called Be Connected, which is basically you're plugging into a university that you can have free for life after you pay the initiation if you get two customers. So, I mean, there's some great resources out there besides the ones that are free. So, I'm looking to find people that, it goes back to what Jim Rohn used to say. When Jim Rohn used to speak in front of Herbalife, he would ask the question when people responded to the button that they wore, the one that said, lose weight now, ask me how. You probably
Right.
saw that in the past. He would say, here's how you respond. Are you serious? Meaning, are you serious? Do you seriously want to know? I mean, I'm looking to find people that are serious about wanting to be successful. I don't have time to waste because I've got a bigger picture of what I'm looking to do.
So, in working with some of your clients, what do you do to help them become more successful?
I'm always there. It was like when I started in the business, I take a look at it as I started off with indirect mentors, you know, the books, the CDs, until I found the first direct mentor. And a lot of it is just being there so that when they have a question about whatever it is, they know that they can pick the phone up and they've got the ability to set an appointment, get in touch with me, and they know that I've got the insights or perspectives that can help them dealing with whatever they're dealing with. So, virtually I'm just there to help them or point them to information, guide them to the information that will help them maybe change their mindset if they're willing to change their mindset.
So, this is a good time to take the first break. We have a couple commercials. And when we come back from the break, I will continue the conversation with Robert Butwin of Success Strategies. I'm Allan Hirsch of Allan Hirsch Advisors, and this is AHA Business Podcast.
Hi, Rick Dempsey here. As a former Oriole and Series MVP, I know a lot about winning and championship teams. Today, I am happy to tell you about my award-winning web design and internet marketing team, Adventure Web Interactive. For over 2 decades, many of Maryland's most successful firms have chosen Adventure Web as their strategic partner for web design and online marketing. I can tell you from using them personally, their search engine optimization and social media programs have saved their clients tens of thousands over the traditional pay-per-click digital agency. Visit AdventureWebInteractive.com and listen to what clients such as Hercules Fence, TriStar Electric, ABC Rental, Rhine Landscaping, Markdown's Office Furniture, and many more highly successful firms have to say. And don't forget to tell them Rick Dempsey sent you.
Strengthen, protect, and preserve your retirement nest egg. Scott Garceau here for the Stephen J. Sless Group, Baltimore's reverse mortgage specialist. Reverse mortgages have evolved to become a viable retirement tool. Enjoy retirement without monthly mortgage payments, improve cash flow, pay off debt, and stretch retirement savings. Stephen and his team can offer strategies to make housing wealth work for you. If you're 62 or older, learn if a reverse mortgage could help. Visit reversebaltimore.com.
An equal housing opportunity lender. This is not a commitment to lend. Stephen J. Sless, NMLS 298581. PRMI NMLS 3094.
Welcome back to the show. My guest today is Robert Butwin of Success Strategies. Welcome back, Robert.
Thank you.
During the break, we actually talked about the four qualities of success. Can you outline that?
Sure. To be successful, it really gets down from what I've learned. It's number one, what you put in your mind, what you put in your body. And again, not everybody's going to do a complete transformation, but it's becoming more conscious and aware. You want to put less of the negative things in your mind and body and more of the positive things. For example, a lot of people get in the habit of watching too much of what I call the electronic income reducer, the TV, or get caught up on games or whatever it is, and it's very simple to shift to things that are going to be more positive. Some of the different CDs, for example, I started to talk about Beyond Positive Thinking or Jim Rohn, or there's so many great people that that are living or have lived that have got some tremendous wisdom. And then when it gets down to what you put in your body, which I've always been into the holistic nature, but again, it's becoming more aware of the negative things, the stuff like the amount of sugars, deep fried foods, the meat, the white flour, all those kind of things. Put less of those in, more of the superfoods. And then it goes down to the activities. Are your activities congruent with what your end objective is going to be? And ultimately, the relationships that you have, the relationships with your indirect or with your mentors, with the relationships with the people that are in your inner circle, the people that, that are around you. There's a lot of people out there, and I don't want to really talk about the undesirables, but obviously, as you consistently meet people, there's certain people you can spend 2 minutes with, but not 2 hours. Others you can spend 2 hours, not 2 days. And you've got to discern who you spend your time with. So the 4 keys again: what you put in your mind, what you put in your body, the activities you do, and the relationships you have.
So how do you, so you're trying to change, and you can't change them. They can only change themselves. People can only change themselves. They can't be changed by a coach or a consultant. But so how do you go about helping to change them with this mindset?
First of all, there's an old saying: you can bring the horse to water, you can't make them drink, but you can sure put some salt in what they eat.
Yes.
So, again, it's how we put thoughts into their mind. There's a lot of stuff they can get to for free. I'm going through a course because, again, I think life is about, going back to what Tony Robbins talks about, constant, never-ending improvement. How do you continually sharpen your skills, and so that you'll be able to be more effective to other people? So I point people to information. I'm going through a course right now. It's a phenomenal course, but it's about how you reprogram yourself. And there's many top coaches out there that do that. That's not what I do. I'm willing to mentor people, but I'm not, even though I do coach, so to speak, it's not what I do. I'm more of a mentor. In fact, I just started with another guy that I met a while back. We're starting out what they call the Enlightened Entrepreneur Mentors. And we're going to have a team of mentors and many different subject matters. And I plan to do an Enlightened Entrepreneur retreat. I don't ask me when it's going to be. First we got to get through, what we're dealing with now, but
Right.
it will be in the future.
Yeah. So how do you, you need to generate revenue. You're in a business. You don't charge fees. So how do you get paid? Do you get paid from future growth, future profits? How do you get paid with your CEOs, business owners that you work with?
Well, first of all, because of a lot of the success that I've had, and we didn't spend all the money that we were making, we had our money working for ourselves. So I've accumulated a lot of assets, number one. Number two, I've got residual income from things that I've done in the past. Some of those streams of incomes that we talked about in the past, I've got a check that from one company that I worked with over 30 years ago that keeps coming in month after month after month. Another one that was 20 years ago. Now, some of them have dried up, but my whole thing is on the back end. Usually most of the models I'm involved with has got a leverage back end where I've got a vested interest to help somebody on a long-term basis. And that's why I tell them if they want to be involved with me at a closer level, they need to be involved with one of these couple different programs. Like one of them has got some of the most pure live whole foods. We talked about what you put in your body. Another one for an entrepreneur that just knows, like the guy that I was talking with earlier has been a firefighter for, in the Army for his whole career, and just sort of shifted in May to become an entrepreneur. And a lot of the times they don't know. And so I've got resources that have got the tools that are very inexpensive. But by them being part of that, I'm willing to mentor them for life for free. So it's, I focus on only what I can do to help people.
I understand that. I do too. And I'm trying to understand how you, and maybe it's, at some point, it's at the discretion of the client, the people you're working with. But I would think there is a worth to what you do and how you're compensated.
There is a worth, but the point is, if I put the value on what I know I'm worth, very few people, if anybody, would be able to afford me. So I'd rather give it away, because one of the things I did, there's one of the podcasts that I work with, it's called Network After Work. And I'm going to be doing an ongoing series. I believe we've talked about it already. And I did a series called The 5 A's in the Law of Attraction. And it's like, how do you really attract what it is that you want? And I believe I've got to demonstrate value, become a resource to the other person,
Mhm.
so that they're going to want to work with me, rather than asking them, to give me money because of the fact that they've got a relationship with me. It's just my model, the way I operate.
Okay. Okay. So who are, and I don't want to necessarily go into your clients, but what and how do you work with them? And do you work it on a schedule, or are they able to call you at any time? How do you work with these? Uh, I guess the best way is call them clients, but they're not paying clients.
Yeah. Normally they'll either send me an email or text, and we'll look at my schedule and their schedule, and we'll set up a time to talk with them. One of the people I'm working with, who, I've helped her transform her life, and she coaches, and she wants me to do what do you want to help her promote an event that she's coming up with. I do that quite often with some of the people I'm working with. It's sort of like, you want to look at me back to the movie The Wizard of Oz. I'm the guy behind the curtain. I like to be, now, don't get me wrong, I've been on stage, last month, the month before. I'm quite often on different stages. First of all, life is a stage. It's how you
Yes.
show up, and it's how you want to create the stage around you. And that's sort of what, in relationship to what we're going through, it's really leveled the playing field, and we can all create our own stage. I've seen many different people with many different areas of interest, and they're creating a stage around it. So, we can create our own stage. And so I focus on just, if I live my life knowing that I did the best to really help other people, at least if nothing else, I know that I lived a fulfilled life.
Right. How do you get your clients? Do they, through the networking events, do you work with and get clients through their networking events, or through word of mouth, or how do you get your clients?
Well, when I went away from more of the old fashioned, I started focusing on LinkedIn. When I started on LinkedIn, I was what they call ignorance on fire. I didn't know what I didn't know at that point in time. So I just added people. I took a look at who had X amount of connections. And as I continually went through the process, I started refining what I was doing. And then I looked at people that had certain categories. And so that's how I started off. And I met some amazing people on LinkedIn. But then I sort of transitioned with the pandemic to more of the Zoom. And I'm doing, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 10 Zoom calls every single week. And I get some of my clients through referrals. But again, the way I get most of my clients is just show up and doing something that's going to have a positive impact on them. And if I can positively impact and help somebody take their business or what they're doing in a positive direction, and I have a meaningful conversation with them, some of the people are going to say, because I put an innuendo, if you want me to mentor you for life, here's what my requirements are. And some of them will pick up, and some of them, it's like, there's an old saying, some people come in for a season or a reason or whatever, and the right ones will stick. I don't seem to have a problem attracting people.
That's great. So where do you see your business going in the next 3 to 5 years?
My mindset, and I've had a very successful past, and the way I look at my future is I say my best is yet to come. I don't, there's an old saying, as I look into my crystal ball is clear, but it's not crystal clear. I just see greatness coming. I don't know at what direction, but I know that, because we're all in this together, and the more value, and here was my definition of wealth. There's a direct relationship to the value and service that you bring to the marketplace and the rewards the marketplace will give you in return. Who is the marketplace? The marketplace is people. The more that you show up and help people, I believe that it comes back. It might not come back from the direct area that I, put my value or service into, but it definitely will come back and you'll be rewarded.
So, I mean, it sounds like you have a wonderful outlook and a wonderful career in working with CEOs, business owners that you work with you for life.
My objective is that of whoever I attract, I expect it to be a lifelong working relationship. It doesn't always happen that way.
Right.
But, I expect it that way. And quite often we get what we expect.
I think what you do is amazing. And I really appreciate your being on the podcast with me. How can the listeners reach you, Robert?
Well, they can look up under my name, which is Robert Butwin, or my last name is just Butwin. What they want to understand, and what I always will close every time I'm involved with, just remember, with Robert, you do nothing but win. Again, my last name is butwin@gmail.com.
Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast today. I appreciate it. I'm Allan Hirsch of Allan Hirsch Advisors, your host. To reach me, call 443-977-4500 or visit my website at allanhirschadvisors.com. You can listen to the podcast of past shows wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Allan Hirsch, and this has been AHA Business Podcast. Thank you for listening.